That last one, WWE 2K20, and I found myself playing it a few weeks ago, but it was still trash.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm mad because I got the SmackDown edition.
Oh, you paid for that?
Houston, we have a problem.
What you gonna do? 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 What you gonna do?
Oh, yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a very special edition of the Wrestling Realm, where we finally put Brian H. Ward on a hot seat by asking him a very, very special and specific question about something that is near and dear to all of our hearts as wrestling fans growing up as kids, even into our adulthood. We are going to ask him what is his top 5 favorite wrestling video games of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
5 video games I would get back.
Okay.
Tell me I could have them back, I would take them.
Sure. You want to be that specific? Let's do it.
Well, I wanted to make sure it's specific, but I also wanted to make sure this list was personal. And what I mean is time I spent, energy, and lots of games. So
these are 5 games that you are familiar with, that you grew up on, that meant something to you, that represented something, that has something to do with your fandom and your life of professional wrestling fan.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
So, with that being said, should I give a preface?
Sure, dude. Let's
say this.
I'm curious, so I'm interested to see what you have to say.
I was a PlayStation guy, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, it was some systems before PlayStation, but okay, let's see what you got.
And which will be, but as we get to the height.
See, this is what happens when he gets on the hot seat. When he puts me on the hot seat, he starts getting. But his turn, he starts getting all technical and want to break stuff down.
Sure.
Let's break it down. Brian H.
Right.
Get it? See what I just did?
I like it.
Let's keep it 100.
All right, let's get right into it. I'll just leave it at that. We'll get right to the list.
All right.
So, number 5.
Number 5. What do you got?
WWF Attitude. Now, I know this may not have been a very popular game, but at that time, right, when I think of 11, 12-year-old me,
okay,
I think about one.
Go ahead and date yourself.
How many times they kept pushing this game back.
Okay.
You may remember this came out in 1999. That was during the unfortunate time where we lost the great Owen Hart.
Yes, indeed.
And the game was pushed back because, they wanted to honor him. We thought that they was going to take him off the game at the time, but they didn't.
Okay.
But, they put they put a tribute to him.
Okay.
The thing about that game was, it was like the whole summer was like waiting for it. It was supposed to come out June, like the end of June.
Okay.
That game didn't come out till August 6th. Why do I remember that? Because it's the day before my birthday.
There you go.
And, we was getting ready to go on vacation, me and my family. That time, I remember went got the game. We went on vacation to South Carolina. I took my PlayStation. I spent every night, back in the day, we didn't always have a suite. You just had a hotel, right? So when everybody went to bed.
Back in the day.
Yeah, we was a family of 4. Everybody go to bed. Okay, that's time I get to be on the game. So I'll be on the game till about 1 or 2 in the morning. Everybody, had to turn the volume down. And I played like the whole season. And that was during the time where you started off on House Show.
Okay.
Then you went to Shotgun Saturday Night, the Sunday Night Heat, the Monday Night Raw, then the pay-per-views. And kids know there was no SmackDown at the time. But it was also cool about that game was you could create wrestlers, but you could also give them finishing moves. Of anybody during a regular during the game, during any point during the match. So like my go-to move could have been the pedigree, the rock bottom, and my finisher could have been a stunner. But then it was also the game they finally walked all the way down to the ring. So WWF Attitude.
Okay, now WWF Attitude was obviously a follow-up to the popular WWF Warzone.
Yeah.
Do you consider it a massive upgrade? What were your thoughts between the two?
So I love Warzone. Funny story, my mother tricked me, said she wasn't going to let me get that game because of cussing and everything.
Yeah, that was a big thing for our parents.
Yeah, but obviously they did right. But, she eventually said, "No, Christmas morning." She's like, "I got you, Wheel of Fortune." I opened up, there was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Man, I'm marked out. Got a new TV. Didn't even hook up the TV right away because I wanted to play Warzone.
Wow.
So Warzone was great, but Attitude was like, okay, it was the next level. So that's why Attitude is on the list.
All right. Number 4, what do you got?
I'm going all the way back, but it was the game that came after Attitude on PlayStation. SmackDown 2, Know Your Role. Actually, it came two games after.
Okay.
SmackDown 1 was cool. I liked it. But SmackDown 2, I mean, if I could still play that game right now, I would. Just, everybody was on there. You also had the first time they put the Hell in the Cell in the game.
Okay.
And the funny thing is they just made a cage with the top because the cell didn't come all the way down to the bottom. It came to the ropes. But, shout out to PlayStation 1. But the story mode was cool. You could really play the storyline through whenever. It was always interesting because S.A. Rios was always in the championship picture. But, yes,
figure.
SmackDown 2 is number 4.
All right. Number 3 on your list. What do you got?
So, number 3 is tough.
Okay, so now it's getting interesting.
It is.
Number 3.
I got to go with, because I said these are games that I spent a lot of time with. Because I was a PlayStation person, WCW versus NWO World Tour.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
You got Sting on the cover.
Yeah.
That was where I kind of got introduced to a lot of Japanese wrestlers, but I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't know. So that's a game, if you gave it to me now, I would really spend a lot of time and I would actually have a better understanding. I mean, man, if you imagine if they did an AEW versus the World Tour, I said, not WCW versus. I said WCW. I'm talking WCW versus the World. Not World Tour.
Oh, no. See, time out. Now, see, when he said WCW versus NWO World Tour,
but see, you was a Nintendo guy.
Absolutely. In 64. That was a Nintendo 64. I didn't even pay the fact that wasn't even... I just thought you were going with that game because you might have played it at your cousin's or at somebody's house.
And see, and if that was the case, my whole list changed.
Yeah, because WCW versus... Nobody remembers WCW versus the World, but everybody remembers WCW versus NWO World
And see,
Tour.
that was our answer for it on PlayStation for the same reason, though.
Absolutely.
It was really... they went to Nitro next. Nitro was where it was like the combination buttons, but the WCW versus the World was kind of like the Revenge and the WCW World Tour, where you had like the D-pad. It was really on there. So, like I said, with wrestling games, if I was to include like my family, that's where I would have to go. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But by all means, because I'm not including that, I'm going with games that I own, and because I was a PlayStation guy, it's WCW versus the World.
It's not my list. All right. So you had that at number 3. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We're in the top 2 now, okay?
No, top 2.
So that means these 2 games have to be the most special video games to you personally as a wrestling fan. I'm curious. Number 2, what you got?
So number 2, man, WWF SmackDown, or maybe it was WWE by now. Here Comes the Pain. I mean, just an incredible...
PS2, right?
PS2.
Okay. That was a good one.
PlayStation 2, probably regarded as one of the most, a system that everybody owned almost. I believe it's one of the best sellers ever. But, that was their, like, well, people still talk about that,
PlayStation 2 or Here Comes the Pain?
Here Comes the Pain.
Okay.
Why
are people talking about it? And how does it relate to you personally?
So, me, man, one, I spent a lot of time on it, playing video games.
As we all do.
It had, this is during that cross between the Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression.
The transition.
Yeah, so I could do your Stone Cold versus Brock Lesnar matches. Yeah. I could do, your Hulk Hogan versus Rock matches. I couldn't do that before. So that's why, and it was, and you looking at, out of all the games that's on my list, this had the best graphics.
Okay.
That's the reason why. And then the story modes was cool. And that was the thing. Back in the day, they spent a lot of time on these story modes. Now they just give you a universe mode and you just kind of go through it. It's really create a pay-per-view. It's terrible. They need to upgrade it. They've been doing it for literally this whole time on the fourth or the generation of PlayStation 4. So I'm hoping they change that soon.
Tell them how you really feel.
Hey, man, change it.
All right, here we go. So we got down from 5. We got to 4. We got to 3. We got to 2. Now this is your number 1. Okay, this is the big one. This is I'm taking my time for a reason. This is the number 1 wrestling game that matters to you personally as a fan.
So, the number one game that matters, if you gave me an opportunity to redo it, to modernize it, but still keep that fun factor.
All those things. I got more.
WWF Raw, man. WWF Raw on Super Nintendo. Come on now. Bret Hart, Doink the Clown, Owen Hart. That's why it's my number one game. That if you told me I could redo it, you know, that's the one I'm taking. Yeah, I liked, like I said, I liked a lot of other games. Shut Your Mouth. You know, when I was putting together this list, I had WWE 13 on there, but I said, you know what? That's a little too modern. Like, you know, in all actuality, I could go get a PlayStation 3 and still play it, right? I'm not going to have to do too much digging. But with this one, you know, I got a retro system, so I can still play. I just need controllers. But WWF Raw was so much fun. It had like kind of an archaic mode to it, but still that simulation at the time. So that's why it's number one.
Well, usually this is the part of the video where we will wrap up and we would dot our I's and cross our T's and take care of all of our digital logistics, so you all can continue to follow us and look forward to the content that we try to deliver to you on the regular basis. But I feel myself having a responsibility to my good brother Ryan H. Waters right now to first and foremost say I just want to apologize for you having a terrible childhood. When it comes to these video games. Are you kidding me?
Look,
listen, PlayStation was excellent in itself, but it killed your wrestling childhood.
you know what?
Are you kidding me? First of all, three of the most ultimate party wrestling games. Nintendo 64.
No
WCW vs. NWO. You got to go in order.
Okay.
WCW vs. NWO World Tour. WWF WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah.
WCW vs. NWO Revenge. WWF No Mercy. Those four by themselves revolutionized the video game wrestling industry.
They did.
And you had the only thing I probably agree with you on that list is most likely Here Comes the Pain. But because that was an excellent game. That was, I think, the first wrestling game I got back into. And then you have others, there's a ton of honorable mentions, but you missed out on.
First of all, it's my list. That's what you're not gonna do.
Your list. Oh man, I'm not trying to criticize you. I don't want you to think I'm criticizing
I'm
this.
not.
I feel bad for you because you had so much fun with those games. I said, man, can you imagine the fun you would have had playing with 4 controllers?
Hey, if anybody want to find a Nintendo 64, and
we gotta help this brother out. I think I got a 64, and I think I got No Mercy in the house. We can get Thunder, and we can get World Tour. They only cost like $10 on eBay. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
But you know what though? Because I started, but to me that would have been cheating, right?
This makes me want to get on Twitch and do stuff just to help this brother out.
To me, it would have been cheating.
What would be okay?
Because the list, I wanted to make it personal.
I appreciate the fact you made it personal. But
It's
your personal list,
of the list.
Your personal list shows me like, golly, man, he missed out on a lot of fun. I feel bad for you.
Well, look, like I said, it would have like when.
I was convinced, bro, that last one was going to be a banger. You said WWE Raw.
What was you thinking?
I don't know. I assume it had to be one of the 64 games. Now, I know you didn't have it, but...
That's the thing. I didn't have one.
Right, but there's a lot of games that I love that I didn't have a PlayStation, but I'm like, to this day, that stuff affected my... Because I had friends, I had buddies go over their house and stuff like that.
So let me put my god brother out there.
Sure.
My god brother Marlon used to always trade the games in.
Yeah.
I would sit up there and talk to Michael, because me and Michael closer in age, and that was the one I hung out with. Michael was like, yo, yeah, man, we got Warzone. All right, cool, right? Nintendo 64. Time I go over there, yeah, we ain't got it no more. Man, there's No Mercy, man. This is the game, whatever. All right, man, I'm coming over next week. My mom said I can spend the night next week. Get over there, game gone. You feel me? So
yeah, I hear you.
And now I think about it, most of the time, because they had both Nintendo and PlayStation. My mother was like, Marlon, and they're a little bit older, so he could go out and buy his own systems and stuff, trade his own games in. My mother, like, I'm only buying one. And I don't regret the PlayStation. Like I said, I had a lot of fun with these games. But the thing is, because I did not have a Nintendo 64, I probably did miss out. I always hear it. Granted, I played the games, on a vacation or here and there, but to actually go through...
And it didn't change your life?
Because I wanted it, but I don't know I can't tell you what the story modes was like. Okay. I only literally played, like, exhibition matches.
Look, it's fair. I'm not. Look, I get it, but god dang, God man, that's
But that's the beauty about wrestling video games, it's a key component that's missing. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to seeing with AEW. For goodness sake, get this right. Y'all make a lot of promises. I really hope they get this one right. WWE took a year off, technically.
Yeah, they needed to.
Or 2K, one of them. Well, I don't know who we putting the blame on. But, Battlegrounds it's a kid game.
It's pretty popular for a kid's game.
My kids like it. I play a little
Pretty
bit.
popular.
But for goodness sakes, that last one, WWE 2K20, and I found myself playing it a few weeks ago, but it was still trash.
Yeah.
And I'm mad because I got the SmackDown edition.
Oh, you paid for that?
Hey man, it came with a Funko Pop or
see,
it came
all
with
the bells and whistles.
Yeah, the bells and whistles, but it had all the bells but no whistle.
Yeah, that's a waste of money. But you live and you learn.
Yeah, live and you learn. You get one game back? What would it be?
Whew, okay. It's easy. It's got to be WWF No Mercy.
Okay.
Because to me, No Mercy was the culmination of my experiences from WCW vs. NWO World Tour all the way up until No Mercy. To me, that was like every year we had one of those games by THQ. We were like, man, I wish they could do this, and they gave it to us. And whether it was WCW or the WWF, it just progressed. And No Mercy was kind of like the end all be all. I mean, like I say, with the exception of technology and where video games were at the time, that was it. Like No Mercy was the game. Like WCW vs. NWO World Tour changed my life because that's the game that got me back into wrestling. Because I knew about the wrestlers from the game before I did on TV. So when my brother decided he's flipping back and forth, he was in middle school, I was in late elementary school, and he decides wrestling is hot again. He's turned to it. I'm watching. He's watching. I'm seeing the characters that I see on the game that I didn't really know. I knew about Rey Mysterio because he had the Spider-Man mask on. Mm-hmm. So when I saw him, I'm like, oh, that's Rey Mysterio.
I remember you said that when Rollins dressed up like him.
Man, so like, things like that, that's what, and I was at a sleepover, and I remember that was the first system where you could play 4 guys at once. We could all play at the same time. It wasn't just you had to take turns and 2 at a time.
I bought a multiplayer adapter.
Come on, man. So you were a gamer, though. Whose parents knew to go to Funko Land and get them? I said Funko Land for a reason, not GameStop. Funko Land to get a multiplayer.
So actually, what happened? We was in Myrtle Beach, and I had some money and it was around my birthday. Shout out to my late grandmother. She gave me, and my grandmother was cool. She would give me money for my birthday and give my sister money. So like my birthday, she said she give me $60 and give Megan $20. That's how she always did.
Yeah, sure.
And vice versa. So what happened was we was in back in the day when they actually had stores you could buy CDs and stuff.
Yeah.
As a kid you go there.
Oh yeah, of course.
So whatever that store was, I saw a multiplayer adapter.
Right.
And again, at the time, having a PlayStation, growing up, going to my godbrother's house, it was always me, my boy Michael, my godbrother, and my boy Andre, and sometimes my boy Rashawn. So it was always 4 of us. So I was like, yo, I just bought a multiplayer adapter, man. That way we can all play. So that's how I got one. But it's definitely something, I always wanted a 64, but by the time it was like, okay, now PlayStation 2 is out.
Yeah.
Sure. I will say, like I said, WWE 13, I think that was one of the games. You remember, we was in school, I was showing you the promos. Because that's when they did the retro, I think it was WWE 12 or 13, where they did the retro promos and leading up to they was doing like reactive matches. Like you go back and do WrestleMania stuff.
Yeah.
And they tried different, like THQ did some good games. That's why I understand what happened with 2K. They tried to do the Legends of WrestleMania. That flopped because they changed the buttons completely.
Yeah, that wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, I'll tell you another thing. I learned how territories work on the Legends of Wrestling video game. I don't know if you remember that. But it was blue.
I remember it. I think everybody's confused. Like, do they have the license to put all these people in
one game? And that's how I learned about. That's exactly how I learned about the territories. At the time we didn't have like magazines, and I was born just after the territory where I could really understand it. So it was that video game. I was like, oh, that's okay. You got to fight here, and then you go over here. So, man, wrestling video games are it's something I can't wait till it gets to next gen. But I just hope it's done right.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I know we had a rather extensive conversation about it, but it was very important for us to address Brian H.
You just wanted to insult my list.
No, I just you put me on the hot seat all the time, so it was your turn to get the hot seat. You had a very interesting childhood when it comes to your personal video game experiences.
First of all, SmackDown II, Know Your Role was fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us. We appreciate you joining us here on the Wrestling Realm. Please follow us on all our social media platforms. So you don't like it. I don't care. I can do it by myself. Who cares? On all our social media platforms at Wrestling Realm right here. You can also see this is where I mess up. Cause see, I got too above myself and he left. And usually he says all the rest of the stuff. But I just
I was gonna do it, but I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna do it.
Well,
so therefore, I just do this. Make sure you follow us at Wrestling Realm on all social media platforms. And guess what? If you want to support the show, you can buy us a coffee. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Wrestling Realm. Help us out. You know, we're giving you free content. You want to be a supporter? Just $5. Shout out to Dr. D. Shout out to Christina. Shout out to Cody. You know, out there supporting us. So we appreciate it. We just wanted to make sure you knew that. So we appreciate y'all. Until next time. Too sweet.
What he said. See, that's all that stuff. He's good at it. I don't.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!